And good afternoon. If you're in the States, happy 4th of July. If you're in Canada, happy Sunday. I am Logan Radio Rocks. This is Player 1 versus Player 2, and you can see in the little screen to my left is our good friend, my friend, your friend, our woodsy neighbor to the north, a Facebook gaming partner and founding member of House of 1,000 Streamers, House of Hydra. Good day to you, sir.
Well, good day to you too, sir. I will tell you right now, it's not just a Sunday for us.
No?
It's our big brother's birthday. We had our birthday on the 1st there.
Yeah.
Weird, Canada Day, falling on a Thursday. Guess what? You guys can have Thursday off work, but we want you back Friday.
That's
Then
weird.
we want you to take Saturday, Sunday off. Only in Canada, folks. Only in Canada.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, here, go away for a day, but come on back just to remind you of all the shit that you didn't do.
I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they do it. I feel like they want us to, they want to give us that freedom, but they just don't want to give us the whole weekend. No long weekends, but that's okay. We can celebrate with you guys. Is it crazy down there right now? How is it?
No, it's overcast and nasty outside. I went for a nice long walk today. That was great. But no, it's not nice outside. All night long there was fireworks going off in the neighborhoods around me. You know what? The city didn't do fireworks this year, so whatever. Every year they do 2 fireworks shows.
Yeah.
Except they didn't do it last year, and they're not doing it this year. So I'm really kind of disappointed and bummed about that. I mean, what are you gonna do? It's such is life. But the last time I saw a really good fireworks show, believe it or not, was when living in Miami. Fireworks shows just happen. Seriously, just randomly, seriously, I remember sitting out on a deck one night, and there was a really expensive serious fireworks show just went off. You know why? Because Miami Aquarium felt like doing a fireworks display.
I feel like I could never ever see the happiness of fireworks into somebody other than a child until now. I just met you. I am so pleased to find another person that loves fireworks like this. We're not allowed fireworks in Canada as much. We don't get yeah, like we don't have fireworks stands, and you can go to outside towns,
yeah,
and you can get yourself some Roman candles or whatever. But there's nothing to blow Canada up. There's nothing to blow Canada up.
Salad, bud. Roman candles.
Yeah. That's what we call them. What do you guys call them?
They're Roman candles, but you made it sound like they were romaine candles, like you were gonna make a salad out of them.
Romaine candles. It
sounded like you were gonna make a salad out of those bitches. No. Hold on a second though. You act like fireworks are like handguns in America, because they're not.
They are.
Handguns
You don't
are a lot
understand.
easier. No, handguns are a lot easier to get than fireworks. Now, but that's recently we can get fireworks really easily now. But for years you had to go to like a couple states. You had to either go south of the Mason-Dixon line or I think New Hampshire, and you couldn't get really good fireworks either. They were the shit fireworks as well. But nowadays you can walk into a Walmart and pick up one of those 500 packs or 100 packs or whatever suits your fancy. But that's a new thing. When I was a kid, I don't think that I had a shoebox full of fireworks, because I didn't.
But like we don't get those little guys, those little, what are they called? M80s that you guys have? Those little ones you light and you fucking throw?
Yeah, no.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
we can't get those. You gotta outsource
I don't know where to get those things. I'm an adult. I still don't. Well, I'm sure the internet.
When I was a kid coming up, I was always told those were called Chinese firecrackers.
No, those are different. Those are different. Those are small. There's a lot of them on like a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Well, those
about.
aren't M80s. M80s are different than that. M80s are
What
like
are
it's like
M80s?
a quarter stick of dynamite or some shit like that.
Okay.
M80s are a little bit more powerful. M80s are like cherry bombs that you would throw down in a toilet to make it
Okay.
explode. I think that's. But here you're talking to somebody who didn't play with fireworks when I was a kid.
yeah,
I
but I
played
don't really
with
think it- I don't-
gasoline.
Yeah,
I put gasoline in a light bulb.
Gasolina.
I put gasoline in
Why?
stuff, man. I played.
Why?
Because we made bombs, man. I didn't play around with
I know,
fireworks,
but, like-
bro. I made bombs.
I played with some gas too, but it wasn't my go-to.
I mean, like,
Like I don't think it was my go-to as like a child arson. I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait. This weekend's coming up.
no,
Get some
I
gas.
mean, it's not like that at all. I'm just saying, I didn't.
We're gonna burn this mother down.
Dude, you just made it seem like America has fireworks readily available, and it's not
Well,
like that.
Okay, but
Okay,
I'm just saying. You seen Joe Dirt?
Yeah, of course.
What is he? Sparklers and snakes?
Yeah,
Welcome
all right.
to
Well,
Canada.
did you know 80%?
Sparklers and snakes.
Okay, that's Canada. Did you know 80% of all accidents on the 4th of July are caused by sparklers? That's true. That's a more you know moment right there.
Get out of here.
I'm dead serious. 80% of all accidents on the 4th of July are caused by sparklers. It's true because you give sparklers to little kids and let them run around and shit goes bad. Shit goes bad.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll tell you right now. They're the only thing that was more exciting than fireworks and a holiday was being a kid and school coming up and having those days off.
Oh my
And
God.
being able to like the holidays.
Yeah.
It feels like my kids have a way more holidays than I ever had. My daughter feels like every day there's this thing called a PD day.
What's that?
It's a day that the kids have off. The parent development. Fuck, I don't even know. Anyways, so it's just an easy way for the teachers
Sounds
to
like
give
a
the kids
teacher
another
to
day off.
drink. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like teacher drinking day.
I can hold on. It is. It's teacher jumble. But they just have so much time off. We didn't have that much crap off. I'm just saying. We didn't. I remember we went to school. It started in September and it ended in like what, July, June?
Yeah.
Like what was yours like? I don't remember having a shorter time. I remember, and also a big difference I know between even province to province out here. So for all you can, here's imagine a map of Canada.
Yeah.
Hold your hands up if you're American. You don't know Canada. Now cut it up in a bunch of slices. That's your provinces. Now each province, okay. So there's BC, which starts on the west. Then we hit Alberta.
Real good weed
So
out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, really good weed out there, by the way.
Yeah.
So, anyways, in where I grew up in BC, there's no junior high.
Okay.
It's elementary to grade 7,
Okay.
and high school is grade 8 to grade 12. So then, in Alberta, though, there's a junior high. Do you guys have junior high in the States?
Yeah, we have junior high in the States, but VR Mom just said PD Day probably stands for personal development.
Personal development.
And you know what? She's probably right.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah, we have junior high, but I lived in a town that didn't have junior. All right, so I lived in one town had the junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade that I lived in. I also lived in another town because we moved a lot when I was a kid. I moved a lot when I was a kid. I lived in another town that had 6th, 7th, and 8th as junior high. I lived in another place that had junior high as 7th and 8th grade only. So you know what? Everything was weird. But then I went to Catholic school. So you know what? Then then stuff got really weird. But when I was a real like little kid, preschool. I went to a preschool and I went to kindergarten and first grade and second grade at this place in Pennsylvania, this really small little place that also had a summer camp during the summer. And I would go there during the summer, and my mom worked there as a teacher and in the summertime as a counselor. And I didn't know it, but that was a way for me to be able to get my education really cheap, for her to teach. Or for free, I don't know, because we were poor when my parents got divorced twice. So they got divorced once, and it was just me and my mom for a few years. So we were at the school, but this school was called Twin Spring Farms. And there was llamas, there was bunny rabbits. On snow days, you went to school, and they had really mini little four-wheelers and a snowmobile for like wee little kids.
Sounds like a lodge.
Yeah, it was great. During the summertime, there was sheep. So during the summertime, they had people come and shear the sheep and shit. There were color wars during camp. It was awesome. We had a mascot. The camp was this really old guy named Uncle Ben or some shit like that. Like, it was just awesome, dude. It was awesome.
Unsupervised middle-aged man watching the camp with kids.
No, he was really.
Yeah, it's a good time back in the 80s.
Old. He was really old. But it
doesn't make it better.
It was owned by a family. It was owned by a family called the Hood family. And
this story's getting better. You can't even write this shit.
And as we got older, though, my grade was the class that as we got older, they would have, like, when we were in first grade, there was no second grade class, and then we got to second grade. And now there's a second grade class. And then I left after second grade, but that was like, I went there for preschool.
Well, because your parents were probably tapped out. You couldn't afford sending you to the lodge after second grade.
It was awesome, man. It was so cool. We had music class. We had, what a great place.
Was it cool hanging out with Brad Pitt when he was a kid?
It was.
At the lodge?
It was. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, so I did go to a really cool school I mean, it's a special place, and it's still around. It's probably a lot bigger now, and whatnot. I talked to somebody over there when my mom passed away, so I know it's still alive and it's still running, and just really neat that I got that experience as a kid. What was school like for you as a kid?
I grew up in a town called Maple Ridge. Well, I grew up at different places, but the place that the majority of the time, like my elementary, was a place called Maple Ridge. School was close. We all lived in a suburb, and everybody lived near each other. We 10 or 12 of us on the same street. We always had street hockey, always had baseball on the street, all shit like that. Bunch of dudes, and everybody had usually an older brother, older sister, 3 years older. Like my sister's 3 years older than me. And I just remember being very textbook, very, very textbook all the time. Walking to school, BC, no buses. We didn't need a bus. We were just too. Yeah, but there's no buses. Our elementary school was like 2 blocks away from our street, but our high school was a 45-minute just walk. It was just fine. It was just
sounds
what you grew up with. Yeah, well, I don't know, but
did you walk both ways uphill? I'm pretty sure in snow that you walked both ways uphill, right?
No. There's a part where you have to defeat the crocodile and jump the bridge, but after you get past that, it's pretty easy. It was actually kind of cool because on the way to school, there was Overweighty, which is Save-On Foods. They don't have Overweighty anymore, but we used to be able to go to the bakery and get like a couple Long John donuts for $1 or shit like that. You know what I mean?
Long John what's? What are you doing?
Couple Long John donuts. Those
sounds like a very traumatic childhood.
Do you know what a Long John is?
No, we have no idea, dude. It sounds like a very traumatic incident that you may need to work out in private.
No, a Long John's a donut, dude. Like imagine like a long donut with chocolate icing on top. That's a Long John.
Is that what John called it? Is that what John called it?
Americans don't have. Wait, hold on.
Show me on the doll where he touched you.
Get out of here.
It sounds.
Yeah, dude, look up Long Johns.
No!
You're telling me that in America there's no such thing as a Long John?
No.
Oh my God, we could do a whole show just Just
on
literally
Long
on Long
Johns?
Johns.
I mean, long johns are underwear that
Yeah, I know what those
underwear
are.
that you wear. But no, we don't have long dongs.
Oh,
What?
if you Google it, it
Yeah,
is
it a big
on
bunch
there.
of dick pics? It's just
No.
straight dick pics. Long
It's
johns in
not.
the UK is thermal pants. Yes, thermal pants.
It's not
yes,
even close. Long Johns are also thermal pants in Canada. They have two meanings.
Oh,
So depending on the context,
you guys are just
I'm
using
not
that
even
phrase
joking.
a lot.
I'm seriously not even
Long
making
Johns
this
is
up.
like the aloha of Canada. It actually means hello, goodbye, how are you? It's Vita Zing. Just in Canada, they're just like
I'm not-
Long Johns, Long Johns, Long Johns.
I wouldn't do this to you. I wouldn't do this to you. I wouldn't lie to you. But it is. It's a multi-meaning. So, anyways, we used to stop at the Save On Bakery, man, and always get Long Johns. But if you were good and you got there first, you had a chance at Day Old Donuts.
Oh,
So
you could roll the dice for Day Old Donuts.
no,
Hot
listen.
dog,
This is
hot
funny. This is funny. So it used to be a bucket donut, but if you get Day Old, because they always wanted to sell fresh donuts, they called the Day Old donuts. So they were made yesterday. They sat overnight, so you could get them for 50 cents. So if you get there early, you can get yourself 2 Day Old Long Johns for $1.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? It really
Did you
does.
have any like gas stations or restaurants or convenience stores on the way to your school? Anything like that?
No, I don't. I do remember going past my grammar school that had 5th and 6th grade in it, and there was a gas station around there. But I don't remember hanging out at any place before school or whatever. I just walked to and from school, and that was that. That was pretty much it. We did walk to school. We did walk to school a lot, because we lived within 2 miles of the school. But see, this is the thing. So so after we left that weird and very, very cool elementary school, I then started to go to public school for a while, and we bounced around, and I started to get bullied a lot. When we bounced around in public school, and I actually went to one school and was bullied by 2 kids. This kid Kevin and this kid Josh Fine. And then we moved from that school to another town next door, and this kid Josh Fine's family moved too. So then he started bullying me at the new place, and then everything hit a head at between like 5th and 6th grade, man, because the girls, we were about to go into junior high, right? And the girls in junior high thought I was cute. So like Maria Giacomakis, she was a Greek girl, and she was like head of the.
Say that 5 times.
Right? No, no, thank you. She was like the head of the cool girls in junior high, and she thought I was cool. So I was like poised to like make some moves, and we were all playing football, and Josh Fine started sending out his minions. There was this kid Andy, who always wore soccer shoes, Samba indoor soccer shoes. I'll never forget that. And I would have these little, they were like mini bosses, and we would have these little fights, and then I would fight back. And we got into all these little skirmishes, man, and I would fight back. And then one day, I remember I was walking down the stairs to go outside, and it was like a bad movie, man, because there was this, like everybody parted on the stairs, and I'm just walking down the stairs, and the kid at the bottom of the stairs just looks at me and goes, "Be careful, they're waiting for you outside." Dude, you couldn't write this script. And
yeah, so why don't we go that way?
I walked right outside, man, and this kid Scott Rosati and this other kid named Rob, I don't remember his last name, grabbed onto me, and Josh Fine just started punching me in the face, and he knocked me out on my feet with a punch and woke me back up on my feet with a punch, and my nose was a virtual waterfall of rose colored Yeah, it was terrible. All I could do was spit blood at him, so I did. And I remember the dare officer comes running out of the car. You know, the whole school's around me.
The dare officer.
His name's
Wow.
Officer Friendly, and they drop me. I hit the ground, and they take off. Officer Friendly, which by the way. Yeah, it wasn't until high school that I realized that was his real God-given name, and it wasn't just because he was the dare officer. And I thought to myself, "Oh, I feel bad for you, dude. That's your real name."
What was his first name?
Robert.
Chad Friendly?
No, he was Robert. He was Bob
Chad
Friendly.
yeah.
Bob Friendly.
Oh.
What a terrible
Bob
name.
Friendly, get out of here.
But they caught him because I wouldn't say who it was. Anyways, my mom came and got me. My face hurt really bad, and I got to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a couple days while I stayed at home. And my mom took me to rent video games and movies, and I got some ice cream. So there you go. That's what happens.
You get beat up by Bob Friendly.
No, Bob Friendly was the dare officer. He was the guy.
Oh, sorry. Bob Friendly comes to talk to you.
No, the
and
rescue.
you end up. Yeah, the rescue.
But the thing was, is then a couple years later, Rob, one of the kids, Rob, that held me, his mom took him. I took him out of here because of this incident. This was like a big deal for the parents because like 2 kids held one other kid while the kid beat him up. Nowadays, that would be nothing. By the way, nowadays parents are like, please, let's have a little bit more of that shit.
Yeah.
Scott Rosati stayed in the town, and I was out on Halloween a few years older, and this kid Brian Morris, who was a real tough kid that I was hanging out with, and this other kid Scott Shelley, who was another tough kid. We were all out, and Scott Rosati was out with us, and at one point Brian just turns to him and goes, "Hey Scott, why don't you admit?" Because these guys never admitted that anybody was holding me, and he was like, "Why don't you just admit it and say you're sorry, and all will be forgiven, just admit it." And he did. He admitted it, and Brian kicked him in the face.
Oh no.
Yeah, Brian kicked him straight in the face and started beating him up. I was just sitting there stunned. I didn't know what to do. They didn't tell me anything about this. This just happened. Like, this wasn't planned. This just happened. These 2 dudes just started stomping on Scott Rosati, and I was like, oh shit, thanks guys. I always wanted to do that. I don't remember doing anything myself, but
I don't. Wow.
What's a dare? Okay, hold on. Yeah. VR Mom needs to know what a dare officer is. Okay, I don't really know what dare stands for anymore, but it could stand for drugs are really expensive. Dare was a program set up in your town by and constructed by the police department in your town, where they taught 5th and 6th graders about drugs and the dangers of drugs. And that's what the DARE program was. You had to pass a program to basically say, wow, I will stay off of drugs. That's what the DARE program was. So when I say DARE Officer Friendly, he was a dude who came into the classroom and was like, this is weed. Weed is bad.
This is weed.
Weed is bad.
It's like a bag of oregano too. It's not even real weed.
Yeah, it's not real weed. Don't do weed or you'll start doing cocaine. And then once you start doing cocaine, you'll start doing heroin. And once you start doing heroin, you start doing crack. And once you start doing crack, it's all over. Everything's done. Like it was, it was that's, and his name was Officer Friendly. So you can understand why in my mind, I thought, well, that can't be his real last name. And indeed it was his last name. So that's my interesting story about being bullied from town to town.
Do you think he became a DARE officer because how much he got bullied for his name?
No, I doubt that has anything to do with it. I mean, he was just a sergeant in the police department who probably had kids of his own and wanted to keep his kids off of drugs. I think it's probably nothing more. He was probably the only one in the Northeastern Police Department certified to teach the DARE class. I think it's an open and shut case of that.
Wow, I think you just nailed it. I think I feel the passion you had for Friendly there. I really feel the passion you had for Friendly.
He was a ginger. He probably had it real rough.
Did you guys? We had things growing up called block parent. So you could it's a white plastic sheet with a label on it of a parent holding hands with a kid, right? And it said block parent, looked like a stop sign almost. And you could register your house as a block parent, and then you put them in the window. So then the kids knew back in the late 80s that if there was shit going down and you saw a block parent sign, that's a safe house to go to. Yeah.
And who
That's
made
that.
sure
That was the.
well,
Yeah.
who
I know.
made sure that the block parents were safe though?
I don't really think anybody knew. Could have been Deborah from accounting. We have no idea.
Because now I'm thinking you go over to the block parents' house and that's just like the Craigslist. Block parents' house is like the Craigslist for
I know.
terrible
Now
stuff.
thinking
Like,
about it,
you know,
how terrible is it?
you walked right into John Wayne Gacy's yard. Like, oh, he's a block parent. Hi.
Yeah. Oh, John. Oh yeah, John's a good guy. He's been a block parent for like 10 years.
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
clown.
and he's a clown.
Right, he's a clown. Everything's good. And he's a clown. Yeah, John Wayne Gacy was probably a block parent.
Did you? So obviously, you guys didn't have that. growing up,
No,
so
we
a
didn't
little
have block
different thing.
parents. No, we didn't have block parents. And no, I don't. I did. You know what I had growing up though is I had a secret phrase. I had a secret phrase with my mom.
Okay.
So if a stranger came to pick me up from daycare or I was being whatever, and they said that they were there to pick me up and it was okay to go with them. My mom sent me or whatever. I had a secret phrase. It was lights, camera, action. So they had to say lights, camera, action for it to be okay
Really?
for me to go with them. Yeah, I had that.
That's pretty cool. That's a good idea.
It is a good idea. You should have that with
That's
your
a
kids.
good idea.
You're like, hold on a second. Let me write that shit down. That's good.
Yeah. Next thing you know, my kids walk around. He's like, "Lights, camera, action! Lights, camera, action!" It's like, no. You didn't tell everybody.
It only
Oh,
it
okay.
only came into play once, though. It only came into play once. Yeah. And
Really?
then so then after junior high, I spent 1 year in the junior high. In my freshman year of high school was in the junior high as a ninth grader in this one school, and I ran for student council.
Okay.
And I got up in front of the whole school, and I said, in front of the school, I said, "Look, school sucks. We all hate to be here, but if you vote for me, I will do my best to try to make it a little bit better." And I ran,
Okay.
and I ran against one of those preppy girls who was great at everything, and some other people, and the teachers were very mad about my use of the word sucks and just
Yeah.
what I did.
Politically incorrect. Yeah.
Right, but the principal was like, hold on a second. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he knew me a little bit, and he goes, I think this kid's smarter than you give him credit for. And
Okay.
and so anyways, we had to meet with like the teachers who were in charge of the student council stuff, and they were like the home ec teacher and the gym teachers and stuff. They couldn't care less about it. I think they got paid more to do student
Okay.
council, and they already had all these plans intact, and I was like, these plans are terrible. And anyways, they were hoping that I wouldn't win, and I think they helped the girl cheat, because the girl cheated and she still lost. That's how big of a lead that I had. And I remember the gym teacher just looking at me and going, well, you're either gonna lose miserably or win by a landslide, so
Yeah.
good luck.
Well,
And
people do like the truth, don't they?
they do. I won by a landslide, and guess what? They had all these like plans and roses delivered on Valentine's Day and all these other things to raise money for the school, and they were all failures. And I called it. I said, this is a bad idea. No one's gonna do this shit. And nothing worked. And the teachers hated me because I was right, and I was probably the biggest dick about it as well, being a snotty little ninth grade student council president. Who
You
got
little,
there,
look what you did, you
Yeah.
little jerk. Yeah.
who
One
got
of
there
those
from
moments.
saying the school sucks.
Yeah, everything sucks. Everything sucks. I don't know. I like school. I felt that I blended in most groups. Cool. I don't know. Did you? Did you blend a lot? Did you get along with everybody in every kind of group? You had the punks, the jocks, the nerds,
The weirdos, the sports,
I felt like I could blend anywhere.
Yeah, I did it. I would say I did a pretty good job of that because I'm into a lot of different eclectic things, and also I played drums, I skateboarded, I also played sports, and I was very athletic, and I played different sports as well. So yeah, I feel like I blended pretty well, but we also moved a lot. And when you move a lot, you get to a new school, and like, you know, every chick wants to date you, and all these dudes want to beat the crap out of you. So I did a lot of that as well. And then I went to Catholic school, all boys school, where no one cares. That was fun. That was like
nobody cares,
dude. That was such a revelation. Once you get to school, it's all dudes. You just don't care, man. You just don't care. You want to fart? Go ahead, fart. You want to be the stinky kid? Be the stinky kid. No one cares.
be the stinky kid.
It was cool.
I wore a lot of sweatpants. I got made fun of a lot in high school. Not made fun of, but I got like, the fuck, man, put a set of jeans on. I'm like, why would I fucking dress up for you clowns? Like, yeah, but I'm like, I don't want to dress up for you clowns. Like, I want to be comfortable. I gotta sit here for 8 hours. I don't want to wear fucking jeans, tight jeans. This isn't a beauty I wore fucking flannel, a baseball cap, sweatpants, and usually a set of like high tops or skate shoes.
All right, you were allowed to wear a baseball cap in school?
Yeah, they didn't care in high school.
Well, see, I went to Catholic high school. We had to wear. We didn't have uniforms, but we had dress code.
What was it? Public school for me.
Yeah.
Like,
but you couldn't wear hats in public school. Well, you know what?
Yeah, you could.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I was just gonna say, how the hell do I know?
Elementary, no.
I have no
Elementary, no, but like at high school, there was no problem. So we're hats all the time.
VR mom.
And
what about
like,
in the UK? Could you wear hats in high school in the UK? That's a question. Now we'll get 3 countries involved in this conversation.
Do you want to know what one of my favorite things to do in school was?
Masturbate
it was in elementary
in your sweatpants because you could
No.
get away with it.
No, just because I wore sweatpants and a hat doesn't mean I'm the Antichrist. But anyways, no,
It kind of does, dude.
The devil's sitting in hell right now wearing sweatpants and a hat, and he's just like,
yeah,
the kid's got something. The kid's got it.
Look, man, you don't go to the strip club with tight jeans. You go to the strip club wearing sweatpants, man.
And flannel, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Uniforms in the UK says VR mom. Okay.
Yeah, they have those cute ties that they had cute uniforms. Well, they're cute from my perspective.
We used to play a lot of ruler stick hockey in elementary. You get an eraser, and then you got ruler sticks, and you're on your hands and your knees, and you fucking try to play hockey.
No,
you ever do that?
I mean, I've probably done it before, but it wasn't a big thing
for us.
We didn't have tournaments or anything like that.
We did. We and Pizza Hut. Do you guys? There's Pizza Hut in the States.
There's Pizza Hut in the
States.
Pizza
Hut at one
here
point.
In the States, by the way.
Pizza Hut at one point gave out little hockey nets, hockey sticks, and plastic pucks because that's how big it was back in the 90s.
They were smart. They were very, very smart. Yeah, Pizza Hut was started here. You don't own Pizza Hut. It's not Tim Hortons.
I think we made it better.
Oh yeah, you guys made it better. What did you add? wait, hold on a second. I want to see what you added to. VR mom played hockey at school. That's cool.
Canadian cheese, bacon.
Oh, that's just ham.
Pineapple and ham? Ham and pineapple?
No,
ham and pineapple?
Settle yourself. You need to know.
Ham and pineapple.
That's the Canadians doing. So the bane of our existence as streamers, because everybody's like, oh, does pineapple belong on pizza? So you're telling me that you guys are the ones who put pineapple and ham on pizza. Canada did that shit.
All right, let's find out. I'm going to Google it. Where did ham and pineapple pizza come from?
Because I just always assumed it came from Hawaii.
Pizza was actually created in Canada in 1962 by a Greek immigrant called Sam Panopoulos. Panopoulos, along with his brothers, owned a restaurant in the state of Ontario. There's no state. Oh my God.
Right, settle down, dude. Don't have a Canadian heart attack over there. Maple syrup. Yeah, do you guys put maple syrup on your pizza?
Yeah, we do.
What?
Why not?
Why not? I can think of a few different reasons, but none of them like.
Have you ever had maple bacon? Have you ever had a pierogi pizza?
No, but pierogies are good because I'm Polish, so I've had pierogies.
Yeah,
before.
pierogi pizza. There's a pizza like Boston. We made Boston pizza, did we not?
What's Boston pizza?
Oh, see, it's Canadian.
What, the
The
restaurant?
restaurant.
Yeah. We had one around here. So you mean Boston Pizza was a Canadian restaurant? What, you guys are the Antichrists, aren't you?
Why?
Because you put pineapple and ham on pizza, and then you name a restaurant the Boston Pizza, and it's from Canada. It's so misleading on so many levels. I feel like it's deceitful.
It was started in Edmonton, Alberta, in 1964 by a Greek immigrant named Gus. All the Greeks came to Canada, I guess, and gave us good food.
The Greek freaking Canadian connection. Did you guys also run heroin? I mean, what the hell's going on here?
What kind of food did you have in high school? Did you have a good cafeteria? Shitty. We had chicken strips, French fries. There was none of this like plastic tray bullshit that you see in the TV shows.
Well, I went to 3 different high schools. So one of the high schools was pretty neat because it had a scaled down version of Taco Bell in high school, which was really
Holy,
awesome.
I forgot you and Brad Pitt went to school together.
Yeah, Brad Pitt and I, we shared, and it also had really good French fries. But the problem is if you got French fries, this was at an all boys school, we're a bunch of dicks, so we would just, you just grab a fry. Because we're at a Catholic school. There's no fighting in Catholic school. Guys don't fight in Catholic school, okay? So your friends would just eat off your French fries, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it but complain about it. So what I did to battle them, I used my brains, and I started to put ketchup, mustard, salt, and pepper on my French fries, and people were just like, all right, there's too much going on there, I can't handle this shit. VR Mom says they have a Tim Hortons in the UK now. Holy Jesus.
I don't know, our schools, we had big things in our school were chicken fingers, French fries, chocolate milk, pizza day, stuff like that. It was more of like this is what we had. They didn't, and then you had to bring money. You brought money, you paid every day. There was no I don't know about this whole kids going to school and just lining up with trays like it's prison. I've never seen anything like that before. But like in most cases in high school, you're all piling into a car and going down to the fast food restaurants.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to leave campus. But again, I went to I went to Catholic schools.
Yeah, you went to a prison school.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I ate in high school. You know what I ate? What was ever in the cafeteria? And I'm sure it sucked. I don't remember it being good, that's for sure. And caramel cake and custard sounds delicious, VR Mom. I had none of that shit though. So one high school had good stuff. The last high school I went to probably had bad stuff. And the high school that I was at for like a couple weeks, you know what? That was real good food. But
I saw a meme the other day. It's a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio, where he holds up he's holding an object up for the Django.
Yeah.
And it says, the caption said, when you have a dentist appointment and show up late to school and he's holding a Happy Meal for McDonald's.
Yeah.
I remember so many times coming to school and rolling in with like fast food and everyone being like, oh. And totally, that is the thing. I don't know. Did you ever bring fast food and get that reaction? Did that ever happen for you guys?
No, but there was one time where I did come into school. I got my 2 front teeth knocked out playing basketball. I slipped, and I had to go have emergency dental surgery. And then I went into school all doped up, still on the drugs and whatnot. And since I couldn't say dentist real well, one of my teachers thought I said I was playing tennis all day. Because if you'll remember, I told you at one point I was a tennis prodigy, and she thought I said I was playing tennis all day, and she was like, "Don't say that though, you'll get in trouble or whatever." And because I was just picking up my homework, I do remember that very vividly. And I also remember, as far as the food's concerned, though, I do remember I did something really good at Twin Spring Farms when I was in first grade, and my parents, the Big Mac had just come out, and my parents said, we'll get you the Big Mac meal, and I'm a first grader, right? And I went and got the Big Mac meal. And I ate that whole Big Mac meal, man. I ate that whole thing. And my dad had to bring me to school the next day. And we're on the way to school, and my tummy, and I am not feeling good. I am sick, and I am about to have a Big Mac attack. And I'm like, Dad, you gotta pull over. And he pulls over, and it's a graveyard. It's just, and he can't go any. It's a huge graveyard on this one side. So he just pulls over, and I have a Big Mac attack on the side of the road, and he brings me home, and I got to stay home from school. For my parents rewarding me for doing well in school by getting me the Big Mac meal.
I remember one time my dad made us lunch, and my mom had to go to work earlier, so my dad made it. So I got to give you a little quick backstory of a place my parents used to go. They used to go to a place called the Cat and the Fiddle when I was younger at night to go for wings every once in a while. And it was a bar, and in that bar they'd have wing night, and they would order wings. And my dad would order extra wings, and at that time they weren't too sticky about saying you can't take home the wings. You could take them home. I think wings were like 10 cents a wing. Like, it's back then, right? So 5 cents a wing. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, so they bring home 2 containers of wings, and I remember this vividly, and I don't want to break into the story because it'll wreck this part. But so anyways, they bring home the wings. My dad wakes up in the morning, wakes us up. He goes to make fucking the lunch for us. We get in our school bags. We go to school. We go there. Now my backpack sits in the coat room, right? Now I don't know. When we were younger in elementary, there's your classroom, and in your classroom there's a coat room where you put your bag, you put your boots, you put your jacket, all that stuff. So it's sitting in there for a good 3-4 hours before school while we're in class.
Oh, is it
now
mayonnaise?
Now it's lunchtime, and I go sit at the table, and as I open up my backpack, imagine this wafting smell of honey garlic wings and cigarettes. Because my dad was at the bar, and at the bar back in the day, you could smoke.
Yeah, you could
smoke. The wings were sitting in a styrofoam takeout container to go home. They're sitting in the bar. It reeks like smoke. He doesn't put 2 and 2 together. So I sit down. The teacher comes over, and I remember I'm young, and she's like, "It smells like cigarettes in here." And we're all kind of looking around. We're young, like, "What do you mean it smells like cigarettes in here?" And I'm not piecing 2 and 2 together because that's how I smelt the wings every time. I thought wings smelt like cigarettes and whatever flavor. I never put 2 and 2 together, right? Like, I never really did.
Like, your kids don't know what that smell is, that it's weed. They'll figure that out, and somebody else will be like, "Oh shit."
So my dad gets a phone call, I guess. So the teacher finally puts 2 and 2 together, and she's like, "Well, I'll get you a different container. We'll take your lunch out of there and put it in my." And, oh my God, my mom could have killed my dad. The message on the answering machine was like something to the state of, my sister will tell me, "Mr. and Mrs. Boucher, we really appreciate you always sending your child home with good food, or good to school with good food. But upon this time, the food has arrived smelling of cigarettes and does not look like it should be eaten at that child's age." It was something crazy like that. Yeah. And I remember my mom, but she was just like, "I am not going to any teacher events. I'm not doing anything. You got to go yourself, Mom." Oh my God.
It smells like cigarettes and despair. Please do not give your kid that.
Yeah, please do not send your kid to school with cigarette pub wings.
Now, go ahead. Yeah. I was suspended a few times. Were you ever suspended?
Okay. I got in a lot of trouble. I almost got kicked out in grade 12, but how did you almost get suspended? How did you get suspended?
Well, I got suspended for fighting a lot in junior high, but also I got suspended in junior high for a really interesting thing. And these are in-school suspensions for the most part. The 2 times I was suspended, I'd like to talk about real quick. Once in high school, once in junior high. In junior high, I believe it was 8th grade. Yes, 8th grade, I got suspended. And me and one of my friends who's African American were walking around in the school. But before school, you would just walk around with your friends, right, and talk to people. Mm-hmm. And we were walking around, and this was in a town that did not have a lot of black people. And he called me, he was like saying, "What's up?" And he used the N-word to refer to me. And the teachers didn't know what to do. So anyways, he was just being cordial to me. Like, "What's up?" And the teachers didn't know what to do. So now we're in the principal's office and our parents are there. And his parents were pissed because he used the N-word. They were not happy with him using that word. But that is their issue, is what they were, like, they're like,
Yeah.
we'll deal with that. My parents were so smart. They just shut the up. They knew this wasn't their battle, so they just sat in that room and said nothing. And I was so proud of them. So proud of them. They took a knee. And it was the best knee they ever took. They took a knee, and it was the best knee they ever took, because the kids' parents were lawyers, and they were just like, look. And anyways, they suspended us in school for a couple days, and I remember that just being like a big deal. They just didn't know what to do. No one knew what to do, and so we just sat in there for like a day or something, and we were just like, all right, whatever.
So just to clarify to anybody else who doesn't know, a suspension is when you get sent home. Well, you're not kicked out of school, but you're sent for a while. And an in-school suspension is that you still have to go to school, but they make you sit in another room, either by yourself or maybe with some other kid, depending on what the circumstances.
Yeah, and there's a teacher in there, and you just sit in this room and do nothing, and it's terrible. Then in high school, I got it. They wanted it to be an in-school suspension, but I think my dad was like, absolutely not. We're just gonna pull him out of school for 3 days. Screw this. All right, so in high school, I wrestled, and my best friend in high school was a great football player and great wrestler. His name was Mike DiLoretto, and he was a big Italian kid, and he was really good. And he wasn't the smartest kid in the room, but he had street smarts. And he was also a good athlete. And I stopped wrestling, and the coach was an egomaniac. He was crazy, and come to find out years later, he's an alcoholic as well. But this guy was a just crazy dude. Like, he taught history, and if you were talking in his class, he would whip a thing of keys at you. Like, he was an insane dude, but he was the wrestling coach, and he was insane doing that too. And I guess I had quit. I wasn't wrestling that year, but he signed a thing saying he wouldn't go to any Christmas parties with alcohol at them. And and
seems right.
So he ends up at a party with alcohol at it, and it gets back to the school, and they kick him off the wrestling team for the end of the year. And it was junior year too, so that was a big year. For him to go to states and possibly win states that year. No. And it was a big freaking deal. And I was mad at their decision. So I wrote a letter. I manned up, dude. I wrote a letter and I signed my name to it. And I used my favorite phrase, which got me into trouble in elementary school. I said, I think your decision to kick Mike DiLoretto off the wrestling team for the remainder of the season sucks. And it said whatever, and I folded it up and I put it in this teacher's freaking box, man. And he grabbed it, read it, and put it immediately on Thomas Aiello, the vice principal's desk, and said, deal with this. And so Tommy called my parents in and whatnot.
Oh no, Tommy.
Tommy called my dad was mad because he read it and he was like, what is this shit? Called my parents in, and my dad was like, look, all right, here's the deal. He shouldn't use the word sucks. Fine. It's the parlance of his times, though. You know, this is just a turn of phrase that people use. But how else is he supposed to disagree with somebody? He had an opinion. He put it in a letter. He was man enough to sign the letter. He put it in his mailbox. That's his opinion as a growing adult. I think he did the right thing, and now you're telling me you want to suspend him for it? And
what happened?
Well, they suspended me for it. I got to stay home for 3 days.
That did not work out so well.
No, but my dad was proud of me, you know?
Did Tommy ever find out that you did this nice gesture?
What do you mean? What nice gesture?
That you wrote this letter for him, pretty much. Like, you did this for him, did you not?
Oh, you're getting names. Oh, Michael DiLoretto, my best friend.
Oh, sorry.
Michael DiLoretto. Yeah. I mean, he knew all about it. Yeah, of course he did.
What was his take on this? Like,
I probably told me I was stupid, but also was happy I got 3 days off.
Okay.
I don't really
Uh,
remember his reaction. He probably thought I was stupid for doing it. Like, you knew this was going to end poorly, kind of thing. Like, you know,
yeah,
you,
this
you
is
weren't.
not gonna work
This
out
was
quite
not going to
well.
work out well. You weren't going to get me back on the team by the, you know, because he was a pragmatic kid.
Yeah.
So he definitely was probably looked at me and went, "You're stupid," but thank you. You
Yeah,
know,
okay.
he was the kind of kid. I remember my high school yearbook quote was "I'm just a translator, and you know this, man," which is "I'm just a translator" is something from when we were tripping on acid, and then and you know this, man is also from the movie Friday, but when we were tripping on acid, and he bet me a you know, like an eighth of weed or something that I wouldn't put that into the yearbook. And the funny part is it almost didn't make it into the yearbook because the art teacher, Miss Vidali, who I didn't like, her and I had issues we did not see eye to eye, and she read that and she knew.
You caught it?
She knew. No, she didn't know what it was, but she knew something. She was like, "That's Summit. There's something. There's a hidden message in this thing."
Hidden message. That son of a man.
And she did. She brought it to Tommy Aiello, the vice principal, and Tommy didn't like her either,
field
though.
day.
Tommy didn't like her either because she would kick me out of class all the time, and she would send me over to Tommy, and Tommy would just be like,
Okay.
sit there. And Tommy didn't like her either, so Tommy was like, "Look, man, just put it in the yearbook." And she's like, "He's trying. There's a message in here somewhere." He's like, "Just put it in the freaking yearbook. Stop being crazy." And that's Catholic school for you, though. But here's the other thing. The real quick though, I had a brother William, who only called you little boys until you passed his class, and he was really awkward and
What?
yeah, and then he would call you men. And our year, he never called us men or whatever. And so, but you're supposed to have him as your counselor junior year, and he was really weird. And I didn't want to see him, so I never went to go see him. Come to find out later on, he became principal of the school and embezzled millions of dollars. So
how can like, man, imagine nowadays if a teacher called you
little boys
and
in
then
high
men,
school?
like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, this guy who was a priest is gonna determine when I turn from a little boy to a man, which, trust me, if you met this guy, he was a creepy dude too.
That's an ugly thing to think about.
It
that
is.
dude was in the educational system, floating around, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh god. You have to think though, like, I just remember people finding things in lockers at the end of the year, like stuff that, like, oh my god. I don't know about you guys, but they did this like locker cutoff. They always get sent out a thing that says if your locker is not cleaned out by this day and lock off, the lock will be cut and the contents will be thrown out. So there's always the couple gross kids that leave a gazillion sandwiches in there and shit like that. But then there was like, I remember there just being like weird shit, man, hearing about it in school. Like,
Really?
you know, one kid had a couple dead animals. Another kid, I remember a girl, she had like a shrine or something in there, like a voodoo doll.
Time out. All right, first and foremost, who was the kid with the dead animals? Let's find out what happened to him, because I guarantee he probably is a serial killer. Two, the girl's shrine. Who was it of a shrine to? And I will let you continue. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first one, the kid with the dead animals, what he was doing was he didn't want the science, once again, one of those I saw it on TV, now I should do it moments for a kid. I don't want these animals to get hurt, so he decided to keep them in his locker to take care of them, but ended up killing them and didn't know what to do with them, so he left them in the locker in Ziploc bags so they wouldn't smell. And he left them in there all year, and that's where they found them. But they cut the lock off after. It's like you're doing a hit and run with your own car and then leaving the scene. Like, you know, you're registered to the car. Like, the kid was registered to the locker.
Yeah, that is your stuff.
Yeah, and the shrine girl, she had it was actually a teacher's assistant from a local college or university was in a math class, and this girl had a massive crush on him, and she was collecting his stuff,
Like
cups and like pens, pen lids he's chewed on, stuff like that, and she had a massive obsession with him. And he would have been probably in
Is she a serial killer now? Hold on a second.
So college, you're what, 22 to 25, we'll call it? No, maybe 20 to 25, depending on how long you go for. So she's what, 16, 17? So she's just obsessed with this guy. So like, I don't know if there was, I wouldn't say, I'd have no idea if she had a locket of hair, but I know she had chewed pen lids, and she had a few other things.
Oh my lord.
Another big trend in our high school was putting sound systems in your locker.
What? Really? That's
yes,
neat.
this was
Parker
a trend.
Lewis can't lose of you.
Yeah, like so I actually had. So what you would do is you'd find speakers and you'd disassemble the speakers and you'd get cardboard boxes and then you'd cut them and mold them into how like your locker would be, and then you'd bring your Panasonic Shockwave CD player, blue preferable. It's the better one.
I had so many, but it's okay.
There's yellow, yeah. So then you had that, and then you would hook it up, and we would listen. People would be listening to music, and they'd, some kids would have like D batteries put together with electrical tape with the, to help with power and stuff. Other kids would, there'd be the one kid that lucked out that had his locker beside the outlet, the electrical outlet, just beside the wall, so that kid could have like a full-fledged stereo and like a blender making drinks for people. Meanwhile, the rest of us are running on batteries, And so those are other cool little things. And I remember the girls, they would have like they would have competitions to just see who could have the cutest locker. I remember seeing that, but I remember the hallways just reeking of cheap perfume. Like imagine Walmart perfume, like, you know what I mean, like that cheap girl perfume. Oh my god. And I just remember the hallways just reeking of it. Like a girl would drop one, or someone would throw something into a locker, throw a cologne bomb. I remember cologne bombs as a kid.
No, we had stink bombs in our school, though. In junior high, there was definitely people doing stink bombs. Yeah.
Well, those little vials of cologne?
Yeah.
That you'd get testers?
Yeah.
You do a cologne bomb, so you'd walk past someone and you'd just drench it on their back. Put it on their back.
That's terrible.
And then they're walking around, and it's not a bad smell, but it's just so fucking overpowering.
Yeah.
And you're just so over it.
Oh my God.
Another thing.
Yeah.
I'll give you one more. Another thing. We'll talk about pranks. Let's move into pranks maybe. In school. Another thing we used to do. So in BC, you get a lot of dew on the grass, right? So in the morning dew.
Yeah, I just pictured Bambi going over and just getting a little drop of dew on its nose as it was eating a little bit of grass. Sorry, I got very Canadian for a second.
Okay.
Continue.
So do you know what Frosted Flakes are?
No, of course we know what Frosted Flakes are.
Okay, I'm just asking.
They're great.
Okay, so if you want to fuck with someone, what you do is you go get a whole bunch of generic Frosted Flakes, because you want to buy the real ones because they're more expensive.
They are.
You've tried to figure it out where you're going to have a good amount of moisture in the air, so the next morning you're going to have dew on the grass. And that night you coat the guy's grass with fucking Frosted Flakes. So in the morning when he wakes up and it all starts to dry, the Frosted Flakes, the sugar on them have solidified from the dew, and it's stuck to the guy's grass. And there's only one way to get it out is to cut your grass extremely low. So that was another prank we used to pull in school.
That is so freaking Canadian. I've never heard anything like that before. That is the most Canadian thing I think I've heard.
Really?
Because I've never heard of that before. That is wow.
Get out of here.
I know, I'm blown away by that. It involves cereal, grass, and lawn cutting, which to me, I don't know.
Science, don't forget science. Science! I like that. Was like, I know there's teepeeing people's places, but we're trying to get more, you gotta get forward with the times.
All right, what pranks did you guys have involving maple syrup?
Maple syrup. You didn't really have. No one really wanted to use maple syrup. Nobody likes to. Nobody likes to waste maple syrup, really. So, like that. Like no one really wastes it. It's kind of sacrilege.
No, we're not gonna. Oh, that comes out of a tree. God gave us that. God gave
Another
us
thing,
that.
we used to put fishing line. So you know
you did.
you'd have lockers.
Yeah.
You'd have lockers in the hallway. You'd run fishing line from one lock to another lock across the hall.
Yeah.
And then when the class bell went out, someone would come out and they wouldn't see the fishing line and they'd choke themselves or hurt themselves.
All right, we never did that. That's messed up. That's wicked messed up.
Why is this messed up? These are just pranks.
No, we didn't do that. No.
No. Pack somebody's locker full of snow that you know their combo.
No, but in college, man. All right, in college, me and my roommate, we lived in this dorm that had 5 other rooms on our floor, right? And Jimmy and I were in charge of our dorm. We were the guys, and and the dudes next to us, Jimmy was this bald, tough guy from Long Island, and he was a really sweet guy, but he was a tough dude, and he was a bully, but he was really good to me. So, anyways, our refrigerator had a little freezer compartment, and it was a big ass refrigerator. It wasn't one of these mini ones. It was a big ass refrigerator, like this big, and it had a freezer compartment. And we turned it up all the way, and it would freeze over, and it would just make snow. And we chipped it out into a trash can, and then in the middle of like spring and summer, we would have snowballs, and then we would kick open the doors of our dorm dudes, and they would, if these 2 guys next to us, Jesse. One kid's name was Jesse, and I don't know what the other kid's name, but they slept, Craig was the other kid's name. They slept with their heads towards the wall. So instead of throwing the snowballs and like just getting it like on their bed covers or whatever, we threw them above their heads at the walls. So it just rained down snow on them and woke them up. And that's a hell of a prank. We also put all the furniture. We also put all of the furniture in front of their rooms when they were studying. So they'd come out and it opened up the door and it would just be furniture stacked in front of them. Did shit like that. But the best practical joke that I've ever pulled off is in college, and it's the long con that I pulled off, and it's the best practical joke that I've ever done, and here it is. So we came back to school, and the first thing you do, when you come back from a semester break, is you go see everybody and talk to everybody. So that first week back, as you're visiting everybody, I took the liberty of stealing everyone's remote controls from their TVs. Yeah, I stole the remote controls. This is back before cell phones, where you could just change them on the cell phone. Like, you had to go to Walmart and buy a new remote control and program it and shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. This was a pain in the ass. And for college kids, you might have their controller for the full semester, and they might be changing it manually. So I took their controllers, and I took a piece of tape, and I wrote their names on the piece of tape, and I put that shit in a box in my closet. And then at the end of the semester, as in a fraternity, there's 2 meetings that every fraternity brother goes to. The first one and the last one of the semester, okay? So the last meeting of the semester, everybody says goodbye, and I went around the room and I handed everybody back their remote controls one by one as my goodbye. And I was like, hey, everybody, here's your remote controls, you f***ers. Have a good break.
See, I had a really, really good prank that we did, but it was while we were in school, but it wasn't against another student. We had this guy that lived at the end of our street. We just hated this guy. He was like the meanest dude in the world. Like, he wanted to play street hockey. He would drive his truck and park it down where we would play. He would do all that shit. So finally, we're trying to figure out how we can get this guy. And what did we decide to do? We decided to wait till winter.
Okay.
This is when we're doing it. His driveway is on a pretty good angle. Like, I'm not talking like, I'm saying it probably about a 35-degree pitch is this guy's driveway. So I come up with this idea of, why don't we just every single night put water on his driveway and freeze it?
Jesus.
And my friends are like, I don't understand. And I said, think about it. He'll never be able to park on his driveway. So all winter, it'll be like our gig. That's all we do. So sure enough, the first night, we all meet. We're all stealth. We get all ninja'd up. You know, at that time, you know, you think you're cool. We go out there. We all have buckets of water. We spend about half an hour out there slowly putting the water down. Sure enough, the guy comes home from work the next day. Where's his car parked? In front of his house on the street. So that we go to school, we come home. He's chipping ice on his driveway. He's got salt. He's got salt down. He's got salt down too. And in BC, when it freezes, it doesn't stay cold very long. So you can't. It's not like it is in Alberta, where once it gets winter time, winter is just 8 months.
Oh
in
yeah,
BC,
that Alberta winter. Oh, it's crazy up there.
It can get super nice.
I tell you, they talk about Alberta, Canada, as being cold down here in the States. That's one thing that we learn about Canada. No, all right, keep going.
So every once in a while, the guy gets a nice spell and everything clears off, and it's not enough to make him. It's not enough to make him worrisome that someone's messing with him. So we get a whole winter of breaks in between where this guy, if it's nice, he's able to park on his driveway. If it's winter, he's on the street. But the best was we did it one night. He parked his car on the driveway. And I said, I guarantee you if we freeze it enough and we give it a little nudge,
it'll slide down the driveway.
We could get it down the driveway.
You son of a bitch.
and I'm like, I'm for sure we can do this. I'm like, this is gonna work. So we go out that night, we get buckets of water, we put it out there. This time we had to stay out there for quite a while because we wanted to really make it freeze. And we're all hanging out there, and someone's got half a pack of cigarettes that, you know, you probably got from some convenience store that some old guy bought for you. And you're sitting there smoking, you're doing whatever, playing around, and all of a sudden there's our opportunity and we're gonna push it. So sure enough, we're all standing around the truck and we go push it, and we start pushing it, and sure enough it takes off and it goes. But it's heavy and it picks up some good speed. And I don't know if you've ever seen what happens when a 2,500 pound car is sliding down a driveway on ice and then all of a sudden the rubber hits dry pavement.
No, I have no idea what happens.
Well, the car goes into a complete stop and it ends up hooking around and swinging around, and it went right into the guy's retaining wall. And the car slid around and kind of just like buckled into the retaining wall and all this shit. So now we're freaking out because fuck man, we just didn't like this guy. We didn't want to fuck up his car and his retaining wall. So we all run home and we all do our
wall, right?
Yeah,
shit.
we all do our thing. We all get it all done. And anyway, so the guy comes outside the next day. His truck is in the retaining wall. We're freaking out. We're at school. What are you doing at school? You're waiting. What's going to happen? You're not going to know the outcome till the end of the day, because in the morning, nobody got together. We all just met at school. So we're sitting there, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And all of us just get paged down to the principal's office. Every single person that was involved. And we're like, oh my God. And who's standing there? The old dude that owns the truck and everything. And our buddy's dad. So what happened was, just when you think you're smart, not only did another neighbor was outside the whole time, told our buddy's dad, also got pinched for smoking, got pinched for fucking with this guy, had to pay for the wall, had to rebuild everything. So the practical jokes in Canada can go a little too far if you're not too careful. So be careful out there for the 4th of July. Yes, be careful out there. Yeah.
Jesus, man. Well, I'll tell you, when I was in the UK, one of the times, all the cars are so small. in downtown London that we did play a drunken prank on a buddy where we picked up, there was like, I don't know, 7 of us or something. We picked up our buddy's car and moved it down the street.
Oh my God.
They're so small, you can do that. We like literally just, we picked it up, moved it out of its parking place and moved it down the street a little bit. I don't remember how many of us there were, but there were a lot. And we were also young at the time and drunk. And it's amazing the things that you can accomplish when you're young, dumb, and drunk. Seriously, I have done some amazing things when I was young, dumb, and drunk.
I've survived many of things. Young, dumb, and drunk.
Yeah.
You're surprised how you survived. You're like, how did we get here?
I was young, I was dumb, and I was drunk.
We made it?
We made it. Holy shit, let's not
But
do
I think
that
that's
again.
I think that's a bit of a testament to coming up. I find like, how is it going to be with, are we done with this COVID thing? Are we ever going to go back to the day and age of virtual schooling? And if you do, how much would be lost? Think about if you were to take all that time that you were schooling at home. Of course, you'd be going to prom with your mom probably because you'd be homeschooling.
You went to prom with your mom anyways.
No, I didn't go to prom with my mom. But anyways, how weird do you think your life would be if you spent the majority of your time learning from home?
Oh man, it would be so different. You would miss out on so many things, and you would be socially awkward and inept, and it would ruin a generation of. I mean, they're already gonna have some. Being a kid right now, I think, kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. I think
it would take a while for it to catch up, I think, but it would eventually catch up where people would be inverted. And this whole world, like, I think you need that interaction. School needs to be there.
You do. Yeah. And everything is being so sanitized now. I'm a firm believer that kids need a little bit of germs. And by germs, I also mean a little bit of tough love. School, I don't think that anybody should bully anybody else. I don't think that bullying is a good thing. But there's also part of growing up where you figure out the social, where you fit in and how you can grow as a person within these little social cliques. Because I remember, I looked at these kids and I was like, I'm gonna do sports. I'm gonna skateboard. I'm gonna play music. I'm gonna do these things, and I'm gonna get into all these different cliques, and I'm gonna make people like me. And I think that's good for people to get out there and experience different things for themselves and experience different people for themselves. I think that's all part of growing up, and I think they're completely gonna miss out on that by staying at home and behind a computer. And if you're anything like Eric Cartman, you're setting up some kind of fake screen and you're pissing off. Dude, you know how many kids from like Wales and shit watch my stream in the mornings when they're supposed to be at school? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think the interaction needs to be there. School taught me a lot of things, and I think that like bullying and stuff like that will always be a thing. I think it's just different platforms now of bullying will be different.
It's a lot worse now. It's it's bigger.
It is because they're hiding behind things. They're not. You wouldn't say half the shit you said if they were in front of your face. I agree with that statement.
Yeah, before you got to back it up with your fists or get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, and there was no. I don't know about you, but there was not many ganging up fights. It was usually this guy versus this guy. It was like a small like MGM Grand event that was going to happen if someone was going to fight someone.
I didn't have any warriors come out and play.
Yeah, there was no warriors.
It was one-on-one. There was a circle. It was after school, except for the time I got held by Scott Rosati and Rob. But that was such a big thing in my town that they pulled Rob out of the town and put him in a different school. That's how big of a deal that was back in the day. So you didn't. Yeah, there wasn't like gangs of people going and battling.
No, there was no gangs in New York. No gangs in New York. No, and I think like I had some wins and I had some losses, and here we're getting close to the show here, but let's bring up a couple other topics. Let's give our most embarrassing moment. So I'll go first. First. So
yeah, I
had a really bad nickname for a few years there. Because when I was younger, I had 50 shades of mullet. Yeah. Do you know what the mullet is, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Did you know that Vogue magazine recently said that it's coming back into style
well,
for women? Not for
when I
men,
was
for women.
well, when I was younger, I had a buck teeth.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You had a mullet and
So
buck
and I
teeth?
had
Oh,
a
you were
mullet.
that kid.
So do you remember a cartoon character called Bucky O'Hare?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah. So for a few years there, I was called Bucky O'Hare
Okay.
because I was rocking a mullet with buck teeth. So that's probably my most embarrassing that's what I just remember it being a long haul and being like, again? Yeah, it's not funny. Did you get a nickname or anything like that?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't really remember nicknames or whatever. I do remember people trying to get to me to fight this kid Brian, who was like in 7th grade, was like 6'3" or some shit like that, and I do remember crying because I was like, I'm not fighting this kid. like, I didn't want to fight him, and I don't even remember what it was about, but I do remember being like, I'm not gonna fight this kid, and I started crying. I was like, fuck this, that's pretty embarrassing. I don't remember it being traumatizing, but I do remember it being embarrassing as hell. But I was this guy was just gonna kick. He was a man. He was a man.
He was a man.
He's
a grown man.
Yeah, he was a grown man at this point. He was just gonna kick the shit out of me. He was a bass player. They were all big and tall, and I think that
Are bass players intimidating?
They're all tall.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
He was slapping the bass like no other.
Well, Jerry only from the Misfits is a bass player. He's one of the nicest guys, but he would be intimidating to look at. You know what? I don't know. You asked. You didn't prepare me for this. I didn't have anything prepared.
I didn't want to prepare you. I wanted to hear what would come off the top of your head.
That one sticks with me. That definitely sticks with me.
Those are the ones that stick with you. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, for me, like I said, it was just a name. For you, it was an incident, right? Like, and those are the types of things that when we talk about school, like my kids, going to school now, I hope they go through some good, and I hope they also go through a bit of bad, not too bad, but they also need to understand that, there's going to be some good times and bad times, and it's kind of like what is the old sports saying? You got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win.
Yeah.
So I hope that my kids don't have an extremely hard time, but I know that they're going to go through some shit. I just hope that it's not this new age shit that I have no idea about, this cyberbullying and stuff like that is a new thing out there, obviously.
As a parent, how are you dealing with that?
There's already, my daughter, between her and the other girls, it's like click central. You know what I mean? Like that stuff doesn't change. That'll always be around, kids, who's popular, who's not popular, who's the one that controls the group. So I think that stuff's kind of good, but I feel like the technology wise, it's more of what they're seeing on TV. It's I find there's no more cartoons aren't really a big thing.
No, they're not.
These real kid shows where they're like, they're kids that act like young adults. Do you know that you've seen these shows that come out? Like,
no, I don't watch
we only
them,
had
but
a few of them.
know.
They were on TGI Fridays when we were kids. Like where you had to watch them with your parents, but there really is the cartoon aspect of it. There's a gap. It goes to Paw Patrol, and then it goes right into this this young adults soap opera almost. It's kind of like that. So it's interesting to see what it's going to be like in the future. That's all I'm going to say is I'm going to ride with it. I think I'll be a cool dad. I hope so.
Well, yeah, you're going to be the cool dad, but they are at some point going to understand what that smell in the garage is, and that's going to become apparent, which is fun from my perspective. Just like, oh, that's what he was doing out there. It's going to hit him like a ton of bricks, man.
Well, I'm glad it's legal because that's a lot easier to explain than not legal, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I can't imagine our parents when they were younger being like, oh man, if they find out, we got to explain that we're doing drugs. You know what I mean? Like, God, we're friends with Bob Friendly. He's part of DARE. When Bob finds out, we're screwed. But
we're not doing
you
over here, dude. We're just smoking.
Yeah, like we don't want to let Bob down. But at the same time, I think it'll be a little bit easier. But I'm also worried that it's going to take away a little bit of the why, where, and when it's acceptable to do, and what's the responsibility of it. And
yeah.
my dad taught me that a lot growing up. He's like, it's not about how bad something is, it's about how responsible you are with that thing that's bad. And
Yeah.
it makes sense. It makes sense because, like, you know, booze is a bad thing. It's a chemical you put in your body, but done correctly, it can also be a good time.
Indeed,
So-
indeed it can.
Anyways, but I think that's good. I think so. We're going to talk a little bit about coming up here on the next show. I'm going to request going into our next show that we go right into food. I've been waiting for a food show.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about some of our favorite recipes. I know this is a little bit weird for us, but once again, there's a big division. We talk about player 1 versus player 2. We talk about what it's about. And it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about two people's opinions about topics. We talk about school. We've talked about sports. We've talked about growing up. This podcast is a way to get people just talking and aware of what's, you know, how we all had it. And it's not always about who had it the worst, who had it the best. We're just two guys in the middle that had it. We're just going to tell you a little bit about what we had and how we had it growing up and what we're doing now. So it's not always about what we did. There are shows like this next one about food, you know, about what we're into now, what we're cooking. Hopefully I'm gonna put a challenge out there for Logan though. I'm gonna call him out.
Oh,
he doesn't
Jesus.
know this is happening. For the next show,
Yeah.
I want to be able to post a recipe from each of us,
All
one
right.
of our go-to recipes.
That's fine.
I'm going to post that out there. Then you guys will be able to get those recipes either off the website, from Logan here off his sites.
Yeah.
We're going to link it up so you guys can go to those sites and pick out those recipes. I'll have it on the webpage. Something that
That's great.
we do.
That's
yeah,
great.
I think it's
I opened up 9 restaurants, and I once pitched a cooking show to the Food Network. So I've got plenty to talk to you about.
good. And just things that we grew up with, you know, certain
yeah.
things that bring us together, foods that bring us together, foods we've never tried, foods that we're going to. So we hope you guys
Can't
join
wait
us.
to talk to you about your first high food, man.
First high food's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what it was, and it's actually pretty funny because I don't want to wreck it, but I'll save it for the next show. So I just want to say thanks again, Logan. Another great show. Always a pleasure to be here. VR Mom, thank you for being into the chat today, popping in there, having a couple of chats. A few other of our friends that were able to be here for the live show. Next Sunday, you will see this show be on the Spotify. We are also looking at branching out. You will see us now going into places like Google Music, Apple. We had some requests that people said that they just don't have a Spotify account. They would rather be able to listen to it from their stuff. So we're going to explore to get a little bit bigger. Logan has some new merchandise that's coming out. We have some ideas happening on July 7th on my Facebook stream, which is coming up in 3 days. To the House of 1,000 Streamers. If you're part of it, we have a green screen giveaway. It's already boxed up and ready to go. So I'm going to say thank you to everybody that was here today, and I'm going to pass this over to Logan to check us out.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Another great show. And I appreciate everybody coming out and saying hi. Happy 4th of July to all my American compatriots. Once again, thank you for being here with us. I'm getting ready for another great week. Next Saturday, I do want to let everybody know I am doing it's Men's Health Month here in America, and I'm doing a Men's Health Month charity event with our great friends streamforacause.org. You can check out more about that if you just go to the About Me section. So that is next Saturday. We're doing Open Warzone Customs, and we're raising money for men's health. So please help me do that successfully. I'll appreciate you, and I already do appreciate you. I hit the wrong button. That's the Pornhub sound right there. Well, you get that. Well, anyways, man, I'll see you next week. Thank you so very much. Once again, thanks for being here. And I guess, you know what, Hydra? Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.